She pulls away because she actually wants you closer. You know what most guys get wrong? They think when a woman pulls away, it means she's losing interest. I disagree. In fact, I think it's the opposite. When she pulls back, it's usually because she feels something stronger than she's ready to admit. Here's the controversial part. Her distance is often a test. She wants to see if you'll crumble without her attention, or if you'll stay grounded, focused, and calm. And honestly, I believe the men who chase in that moment almost always lose respect in her eyes. But the ones who hold their frame, they usually come out stronger. Some people won't like this, but I'll say it. Pulling away is rarely about her feelings fading. It's about watching yours. All right, let's slow down for a second, because before we jump into the deeper Stoic truth, we need to unpack the surface-level reasons women pull away. And trust me, understanding these will already change how you see every interaction you've ever had. I know how confusing it feels. One moment she's laughing at your jokes, texting you back instantly, showing real interest. And then suddenly, the energy shifts. Messages get shorter, replies come later, and you're left wondering, what did I do wrong? That emotional whiplash is exhausting. And if you've been there, you're not alone. Now, let's talk about the obvious reasons first. The things most guys notice, but often misinterpret. And remember, these aren't always about you. In fact, 9 times out of 10, they're about what's happening inside her. Reason 1. Fear of emotions. First, fear of emotions. Yes, even women who genuinely like you can feel overwhelmed by the intensity of their own feelings. When attraction starts to grow, it's not just exciting, it's scary. Think about it. If she's been hurt before, those butterflies in her stomach aren't just fun. They're reminders of how vulnerable she could become again. So, instead of leaning in, she pulls back. It's her way of protecting herself, even though it makes you feel like she's slipping away. Maybe you've been on a few amazing dates. She's smiling, she's touching your arm, you can tell there's chemistry. But then, right when you think it's going somewhere, she suddenly cancels plans or says you need space. Most men instantly panic and think they did something wrong. But in reality, she's not rejecting you. She's managing her own fear of falling too hard, too fast. And that hurts, right? Because you're ready to move forward, but she's caught between desire and fear. You're left in limbo, wondering if she's drifting away for good. Reason 2. Testing boundaries. The second reason women pull away. Testing boundaries. Now this one might feel controversial, but it's real. Some women create distance just to see how you'll react. They want to know if you'll crumble when she's less available, or if you'll stay solid, focused, and steady. In other words, she's not pulling away because she doesn't like you. She's pulling away to measure your strength. Picture this. She takes a little longer to text back. Hours instead of minutes. Most guys freak out, double text, or flood her with attention. But the man who doesn't take the bait, the one who stays calm, keeps his life moving, and doesn't chase, that's the man who passes the test. Because whether she admits it or not, women respect men who don't lose themselves when a little distance shows up. And yes, I know, it feels unfair. Why should you have to prove yourself like that? Why should attraction feel like a game? But here's the truth. Testing boundaries isn't about playing games. It's about her trying to figure out if your confidence is real or if it crumbles under pressure. Reason 3. Past trauma. And the third big reason, past trauma. This is the most tender one. If she's been hurt in past relationships, lied to, cheated on, abandoned, it leaves scars. And when she starts to feel close to you, those old wounds get triggered. Pulling away becomes her instinctive defense mechanism. She tells herself, don't get too close or you'll get hurt again. Imagine dating a woman who's been cheated on before. At first, everything is light and fun. But as soon as the relationship deepens, she starts reading into every little thing. If you don't reply quickly, she assumes you're losing interest. If you get busy with work, she interprets it as neglect. And instead of leaning in and communicating, she retreats. Not because you did anything wrong, but because her past is still whispering in her ear. And this is where I need to pause and acknowledge something important. For men, this can feel incredibly frustrating. Because you're paying for the mistakes another man made. You're showing up, you're being consistent, and yet she's pulling away. And in those moments, it's tempting to chase harder, to prove you're different. But the more you chase, the more it triggers her fear. So, let's put this together. Fear of emotions, testing boundaries, past trauma. These are the surface-level reasons women pull away even when they like you. And while they sting, they're not the end of the story. In fact, they're only the beginning. Because beneath all of these reasons lies something much deeper, something far more powerful. And once you understand it, you'll never look at a woman's distance the same way again. Here's the thing most men miss. Her pulling away isn't really about her at all. It's about you. The way you respond in those moments decides whether her attraction fades or multiplies. And in part 3, I'll show you the Stoic truth that changes everything. Now we've looked at the surface reasons, but here's where things shift. Because if you stop at fear of emotions, testing boundaries, or past trauma, you'll always feel like she has all the power. The truth is she doesn't. In fact, the way you respond when she pulls away determines whether she comes back closer or walks away for good. Let's bring in Stoicism. The ancient philosophy wasn't just about sitting on a mountain in silence. It was about facing life's chaos with clarity and strength. And when a woman pulls away, you're standing right in the middle of that chaos. The question is, do you let her distance shake you, or do you remain centered, calm, and unshaken? Because here's the hard truth. The moment you panic, the moment you chase, you lose not just her respect, but your own self-respect. Think about the choice you have in that exact moment. On one side, panic and chase. You blow up her phone, you ask, "What's wrong? Did I do something? Are you losing interest?" And even though your intentions are pure, what she feels is pressure. What she sees is insecurity. And attraction, real attraction, cannot survive under the weight of insecurity. On the other side, you stay calm. You don't ignore her completely, but you don't spiral either. You continue your routines. You stay focused on your mission, your health, your purpose. And when she finally looks up to see how you handled her distance, she sees a man who didn't lose himself. A man who remained steady, grounded, and unshaken. Here's the payoff most men never realize. Her pulling away isn't proof her feelings are fading. It's proof she's trying to manage the intensity of those feelings. It's a test, not always intentional, but always revealing. She wants to see if the man she's drawn to is real or just a temporary burst of confidence that crumbles under pressure. And I get it, it's tough. Because your instincts scream, do something. Close the gap. Don't let her slip away. But Stoicism teaches us the opposite. Don't rush to control what's outside your power. Control yourself. That's where your strength lies. That's where respect is born. Picture this. A storm hits the coastline. Waves crash, winds roar, the sea goes wild. But in the middle of all that chaos, there's a rock. Unmoved, solid, reliable. That's who you must be when she pulls away. Not the man tossed around by every wave of her emotions, but the man who stands firm. The storm eventually passes. And when it does, she looks around and sees only one thing still standing, you. Now let's go deeper. Why does chasing backfire? Because it signals that your center of gravity isn't within you. It's within her. You've given her the keys to your peace of mind. And whether she meant to or not, she now feels the weight of responsibility for your emotions. That doesn't make her feel safe. It makes her feel smothered. But when you remain stoic, calm, steady, patient, you send a different message. You say, I enjoy you, but I don't need you to feel whole. My life doesn't collapse when you step back. That message is magnetic because it shows strength, and strength is the foundation of respect. So here's the choice laid out clearly. Panic and chase her, and you push her further away. Stay calm and grounded, and you become even more attractive. And not just attractive, you become trustworthy. Because she knows that no matter what emotion she wrestles with, you won't be swallowed up by them. Men who embrace this stoic mindset don't lose themselves when a woman pulls away. They don't turn bitter, they don't beg, they don't explode. They simply stand firm, focused, and present. And ironically, That's usually when she comes back closer. And here's what most men miss. The real power shift happens not when she leans back in, but when you realize you never needed her closeness to stay strong in the first place. That's the Stoic advantage. That's the deeper truth. Now, I know what you're probably wondering. All right, I get it. Stay calm, stay stoic, don't chase. But how do you actually practice that when every part of you wants to reach out? Is there a specific strategy, a practical Stoic exercise that flips the entire script when she pulls away? The answer is yes. And in the next part, I'll share the exact practice that transforms those moments of distance into opportunities for deeper respect and attraction. So remember this, her pulling away doesn't define you. Your reaction does. Be the rock, not the wave. Be the calm in the storm. That's the Stoic truth. All right, here's where it all comes together. We've looked at why she pulls away, and we've seen the Stoic insight that your reaction matters more than her behavior. But now, let's go one step deeper. Because there's a twist most men never see, and it completely changes how you respond when a woman starts to create distance. Here it is, the twist. When she pulls away, it's not the end. It's not rejection. It's actually an invitation. An invitation for you to show who you really are when things don't go your way. That distance is a stage, and your reaction is the performance. Will you act out of fear, or will you act out of strength? That's what she's watching. And this flips the script, doesn't it? Because suddenly, her pulling away isn't something to panic about. It's an opportunity, a test of character, a chance for you to embody the Stoic calm that only few men know how to carry. Practical Stoic response number 1, maintain your mission. The first step in responding is simple. Stay on your mission. Stoicism teaches that your purpose, your values, and your growth come before anything else. If you make her the center of your universe, you lose balance. But if you keep your eyes fixed on your goals, your work, your health, your passions, you send a silent message. I'm steady. I don't collapse when you step back. This doesn't mean ignoring her. It means not abandoning your life. A man with purpose is magnetic. A man without purpose becomes needy. Practical Stoic response number 2, emotional detachment. The second step, practice emotional detachment. Now, detachment doesn't mean coldness. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. You allow her the space to step back without letting it shake your peace. Here's how you do it. The next time she pulls away, instead of asking, "Why is she doing this to me?" ask, "What's within my control right now?" You'll realize the answer is always the same. Your reaction, your mood, your choices. That's the ground Stoicism tells you to stand on. And when she sees that her distance didn't drag you into emotional chaos, it builds trust. She realizes you're not easily broken. Practical Stoic response number 3, presence without pressure. The third step, show presence without pressure. This is where most men get it wrong. They either go completely silent, ignoring her in some attempt to play cool, or they go the opposite way, bombarding her with attention. Both extremes kill attraction. The Stoic way is balance. You're present. If she reaches out, you respond with warmth. If she doesn't, you don't chase. You're available, but you're not desperate. That balance communicates strength, and strength communicates safety. Because here's the thing, when she pulls away, she's often wrestling with her own storm. And the last thing she needs is more pressure. What she needs is proof that you can stand steady while she figures herself out. Let me put it this way. Imagine a blacksmith forging a blade. He heats the metal, then plunges it into the fire over and over. Each time, he's testing its strength. That's what her pulling away really is. It's the fire test. If you crack under the heat, panic, chase, lose. Yourself, the blade is weak. But if you hold firm, if you stay steady under the heat, you prove your strength. And once you pass that test, her respect for you doubles. And here's the mini payoff. You don't just survive when she pulls away. If you handle it stoically, attraction actually multiplies. Why? Because women are drawn to men who can handle pressure, to men who don't flinch when emotions run high. Your calmness doesn't make you look detached. It makes you look reliable. And reliability in the midst of chaos is one of the most attractive traits a man can have. Now, let me be clear, I know this isn't easy. Everything inside of you wants to react, to fix things, to reach out just to feel some reassurance. But remember, Stoicism isn't about being emotionless. It's about being in control of your emotions. And when you choose calm over panic, strength over desperation, you create a foundation for real connection. So let's recap the practical Stoic response. Stay on your mission, practice emotional detachment, and show presence without pressure. That's how you flip her pulling away from a moment of fear into a moment of attraction. But here's the question. How do you actually train yourself to stay calm in the middle of that storm? Because it's one thing to say, stay grounded, and another thing to actually feel grounded when anxiety kicks in. There's one specific Stoic practice, an ancient exercise, that rewires your response to pressure and makes calmness your default setting. And in Part 5, I'll reveal exactly what that practice is, and how you can use it not just in relationships, but in every part of your life. So don't fear the distance. Don't chase. Don't fold. Stand firm. Because when she pulls away, she's not just watching your reaction, she's discovering who you really are. Be the man who rises in that moment. That's the twist. That's the payoff. And that's the Stoic truth. You've stayed with me this far, so let's bring everything home. Up until now, we've unpacked why women pull away, how it confuses men, and how the surface explanations only scratch at the truth. Then we revealed the practical Stoic response, the twist that changes everything. Now here's where it all comes together. This is the part where you finally see the complete picture. Because here's the reality. Her pulling away is not the end. It's not rejection carved in stone. It's an invitation, a test, a mirror held up to you, asking one timeless question. Who are you when things get uncertain? A Stoic man doesn't panic when someone he cares about pulls back. He doesn't spiral into desperation. He doesn't flood her phone with late-night texts. He doesn't beg for clarity. And he doesn't make her distance about his worth. Instead, he breathes. He accepts. Because a Stoic man understands something most men overlook. Pulling away is not always about you. Sometimes it's her fear of vulnerability. Sometimes it's her testing boundaries. Sometimes it's echoes of past trauma. But whether it's about her or not, the way you respond is always about you. And that's the resolution. She may be retreating into silence, but your role is to stay grounded, stay centered, and stay present. You don't chase shadows. You don't fight smoke. You stand firm in who you are. Now let me close the open loop we started earlier. Remember when I said the surface reasons, fear, tests, trauma, were only scratching the surface? Here's the deeper truth. What truly pulls a woman back closer is not you solving her fears or proving yourself endlessly. What draws her back is witnessing your unshakable calm. Because when a storm rises in her heart, she doesn't want a man who becomes the storm too. She wants the lighthouse, the steady presence that signals, no matter how rough the waters get, I will not be moved. That's the Stoic truth. Love is not about controlling her emotions or eliminating her fears. It's about being unshaken, unoffended, unbothered when her emotions shift. You become the safe container where her chaos settles, not because you force her to calm down, but because your energy makes calmness possible. Here's the payoff. When you practice this response, when you let her pull away without panic, you win in two ways. First, you gain freedom. You're no longer chained to her approval, no longer begging for constant reassurance. You know your value with or without her closeness. That inner freedom is magnetic. Second, you give her freedom. She realizes she can test, retreat, doubt, and even wrestle with her own past without losing you. She feels safe to be herself, safe to leave, and safe to return. And ironically, that safety is what makes her want to return sooner. So instead of chasing her away with neediness, you draw her back with strength. Instead of letting her silence control you, you let your silence speak louder. Instead of panicking when she pulls back, you prove, through calm action, that you are the kind of man who doesn't collapse under emotional pressure. That's the ultimate payoff. You don't just keep her respect, you deepen it. But let me ask you this, and I want you to sit with it. What if her pulling away was never about testing you at all? What if it was about testing herself, to see if she could love a man strong enough to hold the line, even when she falters? Think about that. The moment she retreats, she's not only looking at you, she's looking at herself. And in your response, she finds her answer. This is why so many relationships crumble. Not because the woman pulled away, but because the man crumbled with her. So here's the challenge. The next time she pulls away, will you panic, or will you practice the stoic calm we've uncovered today? If this resonated with you, then I need you to do 2 things right now. First, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. Because this isn't just one video. It's a journey into becoming a stronger, calmer, more magnetic version of yourself. And I don't want you to miss what's coming next. Second, drop a comment below sharing one moment where a woman pulled away and left you confused. Tell your story. Not only will it help you process it, but it might also give another man the breakthrough he's been waiting for. And here's the kicker. The next video will go even deeper. Today we uncovered why women pull away and how to stay calm. But in the next one, I'm going to reveal the silent signals women give when they're secretly drawn back to you. Yes, the very signs she'll never admit, but her actions will whisper loud and clear. So don't just watch this and scroll away. Join the brotherhood, because the deeper we go, the more powerful you'll become. Remember this, her silence is not rejection. Her distance is not defeat. It is an invitation to rise into a man who no longer fears uncertainty. That's what makes you magnetic. That's what makes you unforgettable. So stay strong, stay stoic, and stay tuned. The story isn't over. It's only getting started.